Welcome everyone to the 18th Annual Tallgrass Film Festival. Thank you sponsors and thank you viewers who are joining us virtually. If you're enjoying yourself, let everyone on Facebook and Instagram know and tag us at Tallgrass Film and hashtag Tallgrass 2020. Welcome Bird Toast Director Tim Morrish. So welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I live and work in Brooklyn, and but I'm originally from Vermont. Yeah, that's how I sort of got. I always enjoy making films about Vermont because I really love where I came from, and just anytime I get to make a film about that area, I really jump on it.
So how did you find out about Toaster Man?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's something that, I had heard of, in the past, I think just vaguely, but then I had a friend of a friend who was saying like, oh, Galen, he lives in Vermont, he does this thing. And I sort of did some research and we connected on just like a networking site. And we were sort of messaging there for a while. And then, one day I just decided to go up while I was in Vermont, and we just decided to do the documentary. But I very much didn't know what I was getting into when I was headed up there, because he lives in a very remote part of Vermont, so you really have to trek out there.
So when you first heard about selfie toasters, what did you think of that idea?
I mean, what can I say? It's a genius idea, of course, but it's not, it's sort of when you first, hear about it, it's definitely a little shocking, I guess. You never really thought about like putting your own face on toast, I guess. But he really, I think, enjoys doing it, and that sort of energy is like infectious, and you sort of get excited about it as well.
So then did you like learn anything while you were working with Gail? Like what kind of things did you learn?
Yeah, I mean, like, Galen, he has sort of an infinite amount of stories that he's more than ready to tell you every time you go up there. The film only has a fraction of them. But, I think just like Galen, he very much takes things as they come. And that's really one of the things I took away from filming with him, is just sort of like approaching each day, as it comes, and not really trying to plan too much in the future, which I think is very much a lesson we can learn in 2020, where everyone's plans have had to change quite a bit. So.
So then how did you decide how the documentary was going to be formatted?
Yeah, for sure. That's a great question, because that's something I definitely struggled with. Because with a film like this, there is no particular story you have as like sort of preconceived going into it. I was just like, you meet somebody like Galen and you're like, wow, he's very interesting. We should make a film about him. But yeah, no, I worked together with the editor, Charles Curran, and we just sort of developed this narrative around like, because, Galen expresses that he wants to maybe move on from doing the toast. So it sort of became a bit about like him trying to figure out what the future holds for him, and then, I think, working with Charlie, we really honed in on that particular aspect. And I'm happy with how it came out.
And then do you relate to when Gail was talking about his overall life story? Do you relate that either professionally or personally?
I mean, like, I think I relate to it in that, I grew up in Vermont, and like, I know people like, I mean, like, I didn't know Galen growing up or anything like that, but I know people like him, in Vermont. Vermont can be full of characters and people you just like, it wouldn't be surprising to find someone else like Galen, like in another area of Vermont doing something similar. There's a lot of, very unique people. So I think I, was able to relate to him on that, you know, in that way, even though, you know, our lives are very, very different.
So then when you were like, what were your expectations going into it?
You know, I mean, like, I think, as I said, you know, the first time I went up there, I really didn't know what to expect because, yeah, he lives, I think, as you can tell in some of the drone shots in the film, he lives in a very remote area. So I didn't really know what to expect, but yeah, I mean, so I just went up there with an open mind, and yeah, he was sort of very, you know, open and ready to just like tell me basically everything. You know, he's very much an open book.
So I noticed, like, when I was looking at your work, that a lot of a subject of yours is food. How did you translate working with food into this documentary?
Yeah, for sure. A lot for my more professional commercial type work that I do here in Brooklyn. It is food related. You know, it was very much just a coincidence that then this sort of was about food as well. It wasn't something I was necessarily looking to do. This just sort of fell on my lap and I decided to go with it. But yeah, I mean, certainly I think it informed me a little bit about like how I was shooting the toast and everything like that. But and you know, occasionally I'll shoot like more like profiles of chefs and stuff like that. So certainly stuff like that also helped me out when I was, you know, going up and filming with Galen, you know, which, you know, I was up there probably 5 or 6 times. So it was, yeah, it definitely helped me. Like the profiles that I've done in the past helped me inform me of how I was going to approach the shoots.
So you were up there multiple times. How did you choose what stories to use in the documentary?
Yeah, no, that was definitely, it was tough because as I mentioned that he just has so many stories that, you know, he's telling all the time. But eventually, you know, it was just like in the edit, we just decided to hone in on things that more related either specifically to the, you know, his process of making the toast or the story of how he's like hoping to get past or, you know, move on from, you know, making toast and do something else with his life. So that's sort of how we chose to focus in on the various different stories that are in the film.
And then what factors went into becoming a filmmaker in general?
Yeah, I mean, I think coming out of college, just that was some. I didn't study film in college, but I just decided, I think near the end of college, that's what I wanted to do. And I lived in LA for a while and sort of did some internships and stuff like that out there. But you know, I think doing documentaries wasn't initially something I think I was necessarily interested in, but over the past couple of years, I think it's, you know, just become a growing interest of mine, and yeah, hope to continue, you know, just making more docs in the coming years.
And then did you ever get a toaster with your face on it?
You know, I've been asked that a couple times, and I know I do not have a selfie toaster, unfortunately. Although, you know, maybe I should get one because I mean, they're certainly, you know, they're funny to have around.
They are. And then when you were in the house, how was Gail's, I guess, like composure, and how did you allow that to be translated into the film so that you could like feel like you were there?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Galen is he is very much camera ready, I guess. And he has had some past experience with, you know, doing news reports and stuff like that, you know. So he wasn't, you know, he was, you know, there's very little like prompting him. He just goes. So it was more about just like pointing the camera at him and he'll just, you know, he'll live his life and talk about it, basically anything and everything. So in that way, you know, he was sort of an ideal subject because you're not having to figure out how do I get, you know, something else or, you know, So in that way, yeah, it was actually kind of easy. It was more about just logistics of getting myself up there, because, you know, it's pretty far from where I currently live. But yeah, once I was there with him, it was pretty, you know, smooth sailing.
Okay, do you have anything else you want to say to the audience?
I mean, just, you know, excited to be screening at the festival, and yeah, just looking forward to taking a watch of the other films. Yeah, and yeah, thanks to you for the hosting the Q&A.
And thank you for you.